I want to know if you can relate to this as well. See, I have a dilemma that if I don't post the photos that I just got done shooting and I'm done editing them, I tend to overthink them and I kind of get to the point where I might not be as in love with them as I was in the moment. But not necessarily is it something that, sticks, because most of the time I kind of get over it and I post the photos, but I go through that period of time where I start overthinking my work and I kind of don't want to post it. And I'm curious if you go through that as well. I guess a big thing that I know most of us as artists go through is that self-doubt, and I guess what they call the imposter syndrome, where you kind of start hesitating on your work and you feel like you don't belong. And it tends to happen a lot of the times when I sit on photos that I haven't posted, especially when I've let them sit inside my phone for a while and I haven't posted them to social media, which kind of just gets me thinking about, is this the right photo? Is it looking good? And I guess you can compare yourself to others as well. And it's just something that it's a bit of a dilemma that's a problem sometimes. And I think a lot of creatives tend to go with it. And I think it's time to start changing that, because I think most of us as creatives, we tend to already be overthinkers, because that's the whole point, I think, of being a creative person. You start thinking of the next project while you're still in the project. You start thinking about the next edit while still being in the first edit. And sometimes we're biting more than we can chew in the aspects of kind of enjoying the moment itself and really kind of sticking with it. I feel the reason that for myself of why I tend to kind of not stay in love with my photos if I hold on to them for too long instead of posting them in that moment when I'm, just done editing them, is because I kind of am looking already for the next project instead of living in that moment a little bit longer. And I feel like for myself, it's something that I'm going to try to do more for my creative process, is enjoy that moment a little bit longer. I think I want to always think about the next YouTube video that I'm going to be making. I'm thinking about the next photo I want to take. What can I post on my social media? What was I going through in the moment, or how am I feeling that day that I want to post? And I think that's something that I need to get better at for myself, that I'm sure a lot of people can relate when it comes down to that, because not everybody's always in the right mindset for when they took that photo. They might have felt something differently then to what they're wanting to post at the moment on their social media, whether it's related to what's happening around the world with, bad or good things, or what's happening in your personal life. You have to go through the motions of, kind of staying in the moment a little bit longer so that you're not losing that, I guess, moment. And I have a bit of ideas of how I plan to kind of stay in the moment more, or I guess fix my problem of not really liking my photos after a while if I tend to hold on to them for too long. And maybe these, bit of advice could help you out too if you relate to this video as well. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing for myself more is setting up a type of schedule in my calendar for the types of photos that I want to release within my drafts whenever it comes down to social media, which that can mean essentially planning out my weekly scheduled kind of posts that I want to make for my Instagram or maybe YouTube and things like that, so that I stay within a type of schedule where I'm not overthinking the photo, but more in the moment, just saying, this is what I plan to post on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on, so that I can't deviate too much from that. It's kind of like meal prepping, right? Everybody goes through the motions where they have the idea that they're gonna eat whatever during the week, but if you don't write it down and prepare that kind of, meal plan, you're not gonna stick with it, and then you're gonna hesitate and think all the time, like how I tend to do, and especially with my wife, we'll kind of deal with this, is what are we gonna have today for food? Which, kind of funny enough, I feel like that's the biggest, funniest occurrence that most couples tends to go with. It's just dealing with what's for dinner kind of mentality, and neither party wants to kind of figure it out because everybody's been so exhausted from the day, which is just funny to me. So I think just for myself, I'm just gonna kind of stick with that routine of schedule and make sure that I have the photos that I want to post in the sense of maybe themes, or make myself a little bit of a challenge. I'm posting, let's say, how they have the hashtags for some social medias with hashtag monochrome Mondays, and just say, well, I'm going to post my black and white photos on Mondays, regardless of what type they are, and then Tuesdays are maybe for, street photography style, Wednesdays are portraits, and so on and so forth. And if I want to make it where it's not an everyday thing, I can just space it out. But having a little bit of organization when it comes down to that, I feel like it'll help me out to stay more on top of the moment and enjoy it a little bit longer that way, because I'm not kind of just wanting to move on to the next thing, but I'm planning it all so I can kind of relive it as I keep posting it and everything. that I think that it could help me out. And my second tip for myself, and that could help you out, is stop looking at what other people are posting and trends and simply just focus on my schedule. Because the more I can compare myself to others and what type of photos they're taking, the more I don't want to post what I just took. And not because I don't want to post it, in all honesty, because of the comparison to others, because I think they might be better than me. But it's more because I kind of think of like the type of shot that they took that inspired me, and I want to go create something similar because I enjoyed what they posted, and it kind of made me move on from my moment too quick. And I think for me and myself is kind of keeping myself organized and, scheduling myself and not comparing to other people and the trends is something important for myself to stay on the target of my consistency and posting the photos that I've taken that I was honestly very in love with and proud of, that I shouldn't be moving away from them because of how today social media works, is how fast everything keeps moving. And I think it's time for me and maybe others to kind of put it a little bit more on the pause mode and enjoy it a little bit longer. And that's what I plan to do, instead of kind of, following what everybody's doing, just focusing on what actually makes me happy of what I created, rather than trying to keep up with trends that I guess people want to follow because it can help you out to become the next big thing. And lastly, for the next tip that I think is just going to be pretty much the most important one, is keeping myself accountable to make sure that I follow the tip 1 and tip 2, because otherwise everything falls apart. I know it sounds kind of easy and it's just kind of, I guess, makes sense that you should probably do that, but to be honest, it's always easier said than done when it comes down to a lot of, consistency in things, especially with our mentality when it comes down to creating or with anything in general. We always like to be our harshest critics. We always like to put ourselves down. We're always going to be our biggest fan, but our main hater, I guess. And that for me is something that I want to just make sure that I'm just that, my biggest fan. I don't want to be the one to hold myself accountable in the worst way possible, where I'm holding myself back, but I want to hold myself accountable where I can push myself to the next level. And that's something that I think I need to get better at when it comes down to why I kind of would not enjoy my photos after just holding on to them for too long. So I think with that being said, that's a good, last tip to have. But that's it. Hopefully my tips will help you out whenever it comes down to dealing with the same things that I'm dealing with, that I just kind of fall out of love with my photos if I sit on them too long, where I shouldn't have, because I was so proud and happy in that moment that I gotta enjoy the moment a little bit longer. And with these tips, I think it'll help me out a little bit more, since I've been implementing them more and more to myself just to keep myself on track. I've been making sure that I'm posting the type of photos that, will bring me joy, and that I was in that moment happy that I took it and was excited, that I just make sure to keep that going with every post that I make, when I do with these photos, when I'm sharing them on social media, whether it's, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or anywhere that I decide to. And I think us as creators, we got to do that better. So just enjoy what you're creating and have fun with it. And that's something that I'm going to be working on myself a lot more, just because I think it's very important to do so. And just got to enjoy your creations, because, got to live in the moment and enjoy it a little bit longer before you move on to the next one. And I'm gonna be practicing what I'm preaching as well for myself. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.